Oh, thank God. Okay, so Tango Gameworks, ladies and gentlemen, it's not over yet for them, thanks to Krafton, who came in, swooped in, and saved the day for the studio that definitely deserves a second chance, especially when they released such a successful and critically acclaimed title in the form of Hi-Fi Rush, among other interesting concepts and games and ideas. So Tango Gameworks, you may recall that back in May of 2024, released the following statement saying, "Today it was announced that Tango Gameworks will close. Thank you to everyone that explored the worlds we created. Hi-Fi Rush, along with Tango's previous titles, will remain available and playable everywhere they are today." Basically indicating that the fate of the IPs that they created and that they hold, just the fate was uncertain surrounding them. And that was alongside Arcane Austin, who also announced the shutdown. And this was a part of Xbox deciding that they would shut down a bunch of studios alongside Arcane and Tango. There was also Alpha Dog Studios and Roundhouse Games, who were caught in the crossfire of this. And this generated a lot of backlash because Xbox acquired all of these studios with the promise that they would nurture them and that they would not shut them down, and that it'd be all about allowing the developers to explore their creativity and not punishing them for it, encouraging that so that in the long term, they can really find their identity and become major successes, which is kind of what a lot of the most successful studios these days had to do. Larian Studios did not achieve overnight success with Baldur's Gate 3, just the CD Projekt didn't achieve overnight success with, Witcher 3, and after they fixed it, Cyberpunk 2077, and you think about FromSoft and the trials and tribulations they had to go to before they really hit it off, Elden Ring becoming their biggest thing, like that was a journey of them kind of sticking to their guns, their identity, and then refining until one day people began to identify with their games and they just hit it off. And that should have been the opportunity that Tango Gameworks was given, but instead Xbox decided to shut it down and provide the excuse that, I think the thing to be considered is that for us, this was Matt Booty saying this, it's as much a forward-looking situation as much as it is looking back at one certain game. There are a lot of things that go into the success of a game. What leadership do you have? What creative leadership do you have? Is the team the same team that shipped something successful previously? Sort of alluding to the fact that Shinji Mikami, who established Tango Gameworks, left, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the team is hopeless and that they aren't able to make high-quality stuff. And so a lot of people were not happy with this particular excuse. Like, if you were really looking forward, then you would see the potential in Tango Gameworks and not shut them down after they shipped a game like Hi-Fi Rush, which sold well enough and was also critically acclaimed. And this is all by Xbox's own admission when they said that they're happy with the numbers surrounding how Hi-Fi Rush performed. So it just didn't make any sense. But then in comes Krafton. Krafton, for those who don't know, is the publisher behind the likes of PUBG Battlegrounds. They acquired the studio behind Subnautica. And then beyond that, they're working on this AAA Witcher-inspired game based on Korean novels called The Bird That Drinks Tears, and they are slowly but surely growing. They also published the Callisto Protocol, which didn't do so well, but generally Krafton is this sort of Korean publisher that is trying to get into the game of games publishing, if you will. And now they've decided that they're going to add more companies and more studios into their umbrella, and they decided that with Tango Gameworks being let go by Xbox, it'd be a good time for them to sweep in and say, hey, Tango Gameworks, we're going to give you another lifeline. You're going to work under us, and hopefully Krafton's leadership won't change the culture of the studio and will allow Tango Gameworks to continue doing what they do best. But here's the statement that Krafton released on August 12, 2024. Krafton strengthens global presence through strategic integration of Tango Gameworks and Hi-Fi Rush IP. Krafton Inc. today welcomed the talented people of Tango Gameworks to their team. This strategic move will include the rights to Tango Gameworks' acclaimed IP Hi-Fi Rush alongside The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo. None of them perfect per se, but all of them showing really interesting concepts and all of them highlighting sort of a uniqueness of the studio. Now, it's worth noting that they specifically only acquired Hi-Fi Rush in terms of IPs that Tango Gameworks has made. So The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo, those are currently still under Microsoft. So if you're hoping to see new entries for that under Tango, That probably won't happen unless hands change for those IPs. But Hi-Fi Rush in particular, that was acquired by Krafton, and they will likely lean heavily into that. And then they really kind of emphasize Hi-Fi Rush as a thing that they really want to see continue. So I think with Krafton acquiring Tango Gameworks, I think it's safe to say that Hi-Fi Rush 2 is happening, especially with the emphasis on this IP. This game, they emphasize how it got overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam when it released. It won prestigious awards like Best Animation at BAFTA, Best Audio Design at the Game Awards, and Game Developers Choice Award for Best Audio. And they also highlighted how they intend to collaborate with Xbox and ZeniMax to ensure a smooth transition and maintain continuity at Tango Gameworks, allowing the talented team to continue developing the Hi-Fi Rush IP and explore future projects. This basically can be translated to, we don't want to let go of any employees, we want to bring everyone back. So everyone who thought they were out of jobs, it would seem as though they're essentially all coming back to ensure that continuity continues, is what is implied here. All of the employees are returning to work, and that means that everyone who helped shape the success of Hi-Fi Rush and all of the other IPs under Tango will remain at the studio. And that, I think, is fantastic news to see that this studio, I think one of the great up-and-comers, it's great to see them getting a second lease in life, because they did not deserve that shutdown, man. That's one of the things that really pissed me off about Xbox, and just, I mean, what a broken promise right there. They were talking in a previous video discussing like how they want to shape Xbox into the future, about how they regret shutting down Lionhead Studios, the developers of Fable, and how they don't want to repeat that mistake. In comes Xbox repeating that mistake. And it may very well be that it was Microsoft. It likely was Microsoft overlords who told Xbox they had to make some cuts because they want a return on investment on the Activision Blizzard acquisition, which was incredibly expensive, $69 billion or whatever. And so with certain aspects of the Xbox business not doing as well as they'd like, Game Pass not growing as much as they'd like, it's likely that they had to make some compromises there and make some cuts, even if that meant breaking promises. But seeing Tango Gameworks, again, getting a new lease on life is great. Shinji Mikami himself spoke out about how glad he is about this, saying that I'm glad that Tango staff has found someone to take them in. So, Shinji Mikami being the one who established his studio, he was likely very devastated to see the potential road that Tango could have gone down. And so seeing Krafton swoop in and save them is a big plus. And you can see the amount of love that this announcement, that this saving of Tango Gameworks has garnered on social media. You got people tweeting about how South Korean publisher Krafton basically saved Tango Gameworks, welcoming all employees back. And, this stuff's getting millions of views and tens of thousands of likes. Same goes for this tweet right here by Wario64, basically reporting on the same thing. 2.7 million views and over 32,000 likes. Tons of people just celebrating this massive win and just expressing their gratitude that Tango can continue doing the amazing work that they've been doing. Just applauding this move on the part of Krafton. So Krafton definitely itself won a lot of points by saving what is, I think, one of the best up-and-coming studios, one of the studios I think we should keep an eye out for the future. And here's one more for good measure. Again, millions of views, tens of thousands of likes, tons of people just saying thank you, Krafton, for not letting Tango die, because just about everyone sees the potential that they have. They don't sell gangbusters yet, but everyone understands the critical acclaim that their games tend to get, or at the very least, even if their games don't get, huge critical acclaim, like Ghostwire Tokyo had its flaws, but it did represent a studio that went for something kind of interesting, unique with its setting and its gameplay style. So people just want to see what the studio can cook, because when they cook, there's just something about them that feels a little special. They've got some special sauce that's very identifiable as Tango Gameworks special sauce. And so now they can keep that role going, and people are especially celebrating, especially in this year where layoffs have been commonplace and excessive, frankly, and just disgusting, and how frequent they have happened. People are celebrating just the fact that employees are coming back, and that we're not going to see a round of layoffs for Tango Gameworks because of Krafton's dedication to maintain that continuity. And so in this year where we've seen the worst round of layoffs and just the quantity of layoffs we've ever seen in the games industry in a given year. This is just great news. It's just celebration across the board. And the fact that they're already gaining this kind of like positive reception for their saving and people are actually caring about this, I think highlights just the potential that they have to really have their next games, especially if they're made well and if they continue the streak of quality that Tango Gameworks maintains and the creativity that they maintain, to really become, the next big indie AAA, if you will, that just kind of like stays the course, knows what they're about, and just really want to make the thing they want to make until they find that audience, and that audience slowly builds until eventually that becomes a mass hit. Again, nobody thought that Soulsborne genre would take off, and then you look at Elden Ring and it's like suddenly it's a whole new like mass appeal genre that everyone's kind of like curious about, because they just refined that formula until they got it right. And Tango Gameworks, with what they've got cooking, I think they can continue to do what they do, refine their formulas, and eventually garner mass appeal through just the fact that they're it's the same people working on the same stuff, improving their craft until they just like really find themselves in a place where they're on a roll, game after game, release after release, as has happened with Larian and FromSoft and you name it. So hopefully they become the next big thing. I'm really, really rooting for them. Like Hi-Fi Rush especially kind of blew my mind with just the kind of concept that they went for, the art style, the animation, the world itself, and the gameplay, and just the fun factor and the personality behind that game. That was an IP that I really didn't want to see die, and so I'm so relieved. I'm just so happy that we get to get some good news surrounding games industry goings-ons, and just to hear that people are not getting laid off. It's kind of sad that that's really good news now, just hearing that people are not getting laid off, but I'll take it, especially in this year where that's just been like disgusting in the frequency. But alas, basically, long story short, people are doing front flips and back flips over this, and really excited to see what the future holds for Tango, and everyone recognizing the potential that they hold. So now one thing to note is that I looked at Tango Gameworks' Twitter page, and they haven't updated it at all. They're probably still like in that transition period, but I imagine that eventually, and let me refresh just in case, but I imagine that right now, their top tweet right now, or their most recent tweet, is still that of them announcing its closure, but I imagine that we'll start to see some activity here at Tango Gameworks' official social media across the board, and it'll be happy goings from then on. Unfortunately, Arcane Austin, no word on whether they'll be saved. It seems highly doubtful, but I'll take Tango Gameworks getting to continue to do good work, and hopefully, all of that goodwill will be rewarded with amazing products developed passionately, without hopefully publisher interference and mandates that dilute their creativity and the art form and the craft. So Krafton, now that you've acquired them, treat them right and let them do their thing. Let them cook, is what I would say to you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the news surrounding Tango Gameworks. They're back, baby, and I'm really happy to report this. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on Tango Gameworks getting a second chance, getting another lease on life, and what you would look forward from them. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.